and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Anthony.
Hello.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
I am good. We've got a special episode this episode, because we are having our first ever guest on the show. We're 25 episodes in, and we've not had a guest on the show yet.
I know.
I'm quite... Is that good? Is that surprising that we've not had a guest on yet?
I don't know. I don't know what people's... what other people have done before, so...
I don't know.
I'm not sure whether it's...
We're just doing our own thing, podcast-wise, whether it's good or not good.
I don't know whether it's too quick, whether it's dead slow. It just felt like the right time.
We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. So we've got quite a lot to get through on this week's show, so we'll just crack on, shall we? So this week we'll be breaking down all the week's comic book movie news, including Spider-Verse 2 news. We've got loads of Marvel Disney Plus show news. We've got some Michael B. Jordan news for his new Superman project for HBO Max. And then we've got Scarlett Johansson suing Disney. We've got to talk about that. We can't. Awkward, but we can't not talk. Right? We can't not talk about it. We'll then be talking to our guest, TikTok's Sarah Ellsworth. We'll be talking to her about Loki and the future of the MCU before discussing your thoughts and theories on this week's Pod Fans Assemble. This is also your spoiler warning. There will be spoilers and speculation throughout the episode, including in the news. If you'd like to skip ahead to our interview with Sarah or to Pod Fans Assemble, we will put timestamps in the description, as always. So first bit of news, Spider-Man 2, or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. It's a long title. It's confusing that. I'm not good at long titles. I'm not good at long titles. Jake Johnson has confirmed in an interview with the Movie Dweeb that he's in talks to return for the movie as Peter B. Parker. He was in the first one. It's good, but I'm surprised. Did you not think he'd be in it anyway?
Well,
would you not have been surprised? I know he went back to his own dimension in the first one, but
what does the B stand for? Or have they just done it?
Ben. I think it's Ben.
Peter
Ben.
A. Parker, Peter B. Parker, Peter C. Parker.
It could just be that. It could just be that. I assume it's just Peter Ben.
Yeah.
Ben Parker.
Okay.
Probably should have known that. Again, lack of research, but it's one of them, isn't it? He was really good in the first one, though. But as I said, I would have been more surprised if he wasn't in it than the fact that he's back for it. I don't think we've got a release date for it yet, or a definite release date, but it should be good. If we do go down the Spider-Verse route in Spider-Man 3, though, it's going to feel a bit less special, maybe. Because I think the appeal of the first one was seeing all the Spider-Man, all the Spider-Men, or Spider-People, should we say, all coming together in one film. And I think once it's been done in live action, it's not going to have the same, what's the word? Novelty?
Not the same impact or something.
Yeah. You're looking forward to it, though. Did you like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
I enjoyed Into the Spider-Verse. I do think that because it's the multiverse in the MCU, it's not just going to have the sole focus on Spider-Man. So if Toby and Andrew do come back and it becomes a thing, I still think it's going to be quite a different take on it.
Yeah.
So I think it's different enough that they can continue separately or even cross over.
Oh, crossover, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Imagine if an animated one turned up in the MCU.
I don't know how I feel about that.
No, I don't know.
It'd be great at first, but it's gonna have proper Space Jam vibes, and I don't think I want that. I don't think I want that. Anyway, so some more news then. Norman Reedus was interviewed this week, so he's been doing some interviews for the last season of The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
and he did one with comicbook.com, and he was asked whether he'd heard anything or whether he'd be up for playing Ghost Rider in the MCU, because apparently this is a thing that people have talked about.
I've heard this already, actually, to be fair.
I've never heard this. I mean, it's brilliant. I think
I heard it about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So it's quite fresh then?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I've not heard
it might not be this is me you're talking to.
Well, to be fair, I've missed it as well. When he was asked about it, he said it'd be so fun. He said that the Ghost Rider conversation has been coming up for years, apparently, and yet tell them to put me in it. I want to play Ghost Rider. They need to do it. As sad as I'd be not to have Nick Cage back as Ghost Rider. Stop laughing.
I mean, I'd roll out the red carpet for anyone.
Nick Cage. I don't know. I like Nick Cage. He's got. I don't know. Maybe we can have a multiverse. Maybe we can have multiple Ghost Riders, and he can be the weird.
He just turns up again and is like, surprise!
The weird one at the very end. At the very end of the series. Yeah. I think Norman Reedus would be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Talking
definitely.
about Disney Plus shows, Murphy's Multiverse have reported this week that there are as many as 9 unannounced Disney Plus Marvel shows in development.
Oh wow!
Completely. We've not heard about any of these apparently. Not even like little tidbits of news. So these are completely undisclosed shows. They reckon that Ghost Rider and Nova are thought to be amongst the 9.
Well, I had heard about Ghost Rider, but I'd heard it about being with 2 other characters that are known, and I can't remember who they are.
So like a straight into like a team series.
Yeah. Like there were 3 of them, and I can't remember who the other 2 were, but it was like vigilante type characters.
Yeah.
So
is it Marvel Knights? I think it is, isn't it? And I think Doctor Strange is one of them in the comics.
I don't know. Doctor Strange wasn't one of the 3 that I'd heard with Ghost Rider, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. But I have heard something before, but it's only been kind of.
It's really about time to get him back into the MCU, isn't it? I say back into the MCU. He's not been in it previously, but it's long enough now since the original Ghost Rider. And I know he was in not this version of Ghost Rider. Johnny Blaze, it wasn't him. It was somebody else in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., wasn't there? But it's a different version. I can't
remember what his name was.
They need to get him into the MCU. And again, Norman Reedus would be absolutely brilliant. He's not going to be doing anything now because he's finished he's been on Walking Dead for 11 years, 10 years, something like that. So
nice and refreshing for him to do something different.
Exactly, yeah. So he's free now. Call him
Except
Marvel.
taking him off one motorbike and putting him on another.
That's fine.
That's the case.
That's fine. It's a little bit of typecasting, but I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it in this one. So going off Marvel for a bit then, we are getting a Superman project coming to HBO by Michael B. Jordan.
So that's now definitely a thing, because there's been rumours about him for quite some time.
This isn't the Superman movie we talked about a few months ago.
It isn't?
No. So they released information a few months ago that J.J. Abrams' production company is making a Superman movie that for Warner Brothers is going to release in cinemas. It's not part of the DC universe we know. It's going to be like Robert Pattinson's Batman, separate from it.
Right, okay.
It's going to be a black Superman, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's going to be... They're going to basically turn Clark Kent, Kal-El, into a black Superman rather than using one of the black Supermen from the comics. Right. Val Zod, I think, is one of them. So Michael B. Jordan is doing a show for HBO Max based on Val Zod. So we're going to have 2 different Supermen to what we're already getting in the DC universe to Henry Cavill's. I know I'm sounding confusing when I'm saying this, but I'm trying to wrap my head around it. It's great. I mean, Michael B. Jordan's brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be casting himself as this version of Superman. No. That's not been confirmed, but it's his production company that's doing it.
Okay.
As much as I want to see his Superman, it's going to get confusing.
It's all a lot very quick, isn't it?
Yeah. And how many times have we said they've got the chance here with The Flash to just tidy this all up and wrap it all up and just have one timeline? And it sounds like
they've gone, nah.
Yeah. No, it's just like
let's
really
just do
confusing.
27 of the same film in variations.
I want to. I'm conflicted. I want to see it, but it's just going to be confusing and a bit of a mess.
Well, is it HBO that's been doing the Lois and Superman?
No, that's CW.
Is that CW?
That's with like along the lines of like the Flash and Arrow and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, so HBO Max is doing it separately.
Right.
But we're also getting HBO Max is doing a Peacemaker TV series. With John Cena, and James Gunn, I think, is directing it and writing it as well.
Oh, okay.
So again, is that going to be set in the same universe as that, which is then going to be a different universe to the main? I don't know. It's confusing. It's confusing.
No idea.
Warner Brothers just need to get the shit together. It's too confusing.
Well, it's hard to have Harley Quinn still in it.
Give us. I think even 2, even like a TV-based universe and then a movie-based universe. But we're getting into too many different things without a tie-up. Maybe if they did it. It's like, I feel like, and I'm not sort of hating on DC and saying Marvel are better and all that sort of stuff. My personal opinion, I prefer the Marvel movies. We won't go into it in detail. We did watch Suicide Squad last night. We're not going to talk about that till next week, but that was fantastic. So they can do them well.
Yeah.
But I feel like if Marvel went down the route now of having loads of different loads of different universes running alongside each other, they could get away with it because they've spent the time doing it in Loki and sort of teasing it. And they're going to cover it with Doctor Strange. They're going to cover it with Spider-Man. So they could go down that route. I feel like DC are going to end up having to sort of put it together at the back end to explain it rather than sort of explaining it first and then running into it with too many projects. So I like the idea, but maybe just not the execution. Could be a little bit tidier. So moving on to other news then. A little bit of news. We had the first trailer for Army of Thieves this week, released for the new Netflix.
I've seen it as well.
You've seen this one.
I've actually seen it.
I know, again, it's not really comic book related, but we like Army of the Dead on this podcast. We enjoyed that. We did the bonus episode if you want to go back and listen to it. So this is going to be a prequel centered around Dieter, who was probably one of the
my favourite character in the whole
absolutely
thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it's basically him. It's not sort of becoming part of the team, but the zombie outbreak is happening based on the trailers.
Yeah.
It's there, but only in the States.
Yeah.
And it's basically just sort of an intro to him.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel, because we've already talked about, again, we're into like multiverses and stuff like that, but we've talked about the Army of the Dead movies possibly going down the route of different multiverses and timelines.
Yeah.
I can't help but think if we've given him his own movie and he was such a standout character in the first one, I know he died in the first one, but they're going to have to bring him back. Spoilers. It's been out for months and it's free to watch. It's on Netflix. But they're going to have to bring it. They can bring him back, can't they?
Yeah.
If he's that much of a standout character. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's not got an official release date yet, but it's expected sometime later this year, around the autumn or fall. For our
It's
listeners
quick,
in
that,
America.
isn't it?
It is quick, but it's like I said last week, they can just release things on Netflix because everyone's got a Netflix account. Most people with a Netflix account have seen Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
Back to a bit of Warner Brothers news. We have got more leaked set photos from The Flash. Every week we get some leaked photos from The Flash. Potential spoilers here. If you really, really don't want to know, fast forward 2 minutes. Skip forward 2 minutes to the next bit of news. So
can I? No,
just because he doesn't want to spoil. He just doesn't care. So there have been some set photos come out of not actual Ben Affleck, but Ben Affleck's stunt double in the Ben Affleck Batman suit, filming in Glasgow on a bat bike. Okay. So we're getting Ben Affleck.
I saw that.
You saw that as well.
I saw the bat bike, yeah.
You are on a roll this week, aren't you?
Someone was filming out their window on TikTok or something.
They were, weren't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, I've seen it.
I've seen it.
So we're getting Ben Affleck's Batman as well as Michael Keaton's Batman, which isn't mega confusing, but again, we've got Michael Keaton's and we've got Ben Affleck's and we're getting Robert Pattinson's.
Yeah.
Pick a Batman. Stick with the Batman. Run with it. just pick one. Again, I quite liked it. I quite liked his Batman. It wasn't sort of like groundbreaking, but I think he was pretty decent. So I'm quite happy with him coming back. Whether they're going to sort of kill him off to get rid of it, because Ben Affleck's not there filming. Ben Affleck's sunning up with J-Lo, isn't he, at the moment? And
is he?
Somewhere, yeah, because they're back together. We're not going to talk about that on this podcast. But yeah, just thought I'd drop that in.
Okay.
Just thought I'd drop it in. But yeah, I think it'd be good to get him back in. I did read as well that production has stopped this week. They've had to pause production because someone got run over by the bat bike. No, I'm not kidding.
That was so dark.
That was mean.
I'm so sorry.
let's hope he's not hurt, eh?
I know,
somebody got run over by the bat bike. Yeah, so they've had to hold production. It's a bat bike. You'd think it'd have like some sort of like parking sensors where you can't hit somebody. I mean, Tesla's got anti-hit people things. You'd think the bat bike would.
I know.
Yeah.
I would hate to be health and safety on a Marvel or a DC movie or something.
Yeah, but imagine going to the hospital and saying, "How did you break your leg?" "I got run over by the bat bike." It's pretty good. If you're going to go to hospital with a broken leg or something, getting run over by Batman on a bat bike is a pretty good...
I got run over by Ben Affleck on a bat bike.
Yeah, Ben Affleck stunt double. It wasn't really Ben Affleck, but...
It might have been Ben Affleck in that scene.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why you're trying to say it's not him, because he doesn't want to take the flak for running somebody over on the bat bike.
Yeah.
Back to a bit of Marvel news then. So we've got more Marvel toys.
Okay.
I want to say leaked. I was about to say leaked, but I think this is all very strategic, releasing bits of information to sort of promote without having to release extra trailers. We did get an extra trailer for What If this week as well, which is... It's got a little bit of new footage, but there's nothing massive to write home about. We will be covering it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We've got our next event coming, which we are calling the What If Chronicles. So obviously we'll be covering the episodes of What If every week, but there's a few extra bits that we'll release some information on in the next couple of weeks as well. But anyway, back to the toys. So they've released some looks at the Marvel Legends figures for What If. I think there's a couple of Loki figures as well. Two standout figures are Zombie Hunter Spidey. So this is Spider-Man in Doctor Strange's cloak.
Okay.
So he's going to basically be fighting zombies in that cloak. If you remember, though, on the last trailer that came out, there's a shot of Spider-Man shooting Wanda, and it looks like Scarlet Witch is going to like crazy.
Yeah.
That's going to be Wanda as a zombie with full Scarlet Witch powers.
Holy shit.
That's going to be mental.
It's
going to be great, but it's going to be like, that is not good, absolutely. I mean, she's a bit bonkers anyway, isn't she, potentially at the moment, but completely lost it. And then the other interesting one was Nebula. So there's a Nebula figure come out.
Oh, yeah.
Which we've not seen anything in Nebula for What If yet. So this Nebula has got no cybernetic enhancements, and she's got long blonde hair. So I can only guess it's Nebula if she'd never met Thanos, or never been sort of taken by Thanos, which is going to be quite quite an interesting
yeah.
way of doing it. But it just looks really weird seeing her with long blonde hair.
Yeah.
It's only the toilet, but it does look really interesting. A bit more Marvel news. We had our first look at Hawkeye this week. So Entertainment Weekly released a picture. There's nothing massive to write home about with it. It's Clint and Kate Bishop, so Haley Steinfeld, just basically talking to each other. I think it says that it's their first meeting. So again, it's just to sort of, it's an extra bit of promo. They did release information with it, though, that it will be debuting on November 24th.
Yes.
Quite late in the year, considering last week we said they're supposed to be releasing Miss Marvel as well.
But then we did say that Miss Marvel might be literally like...
It could be like the
very end of December.
Yeah, I know, but how long's Hawkeye going to be then? Because, I mean, 24th of November, there's only 5 weeks left of the year.
Don't know that.
Unless they can't overlap them, because Wednesday's the new day to do it. And like drop it in between?
Maybe.
Potentially. But then again, there's probably about 6 weeks, isn't there? Going to be between the end of What If and Hawkeye. I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe they were just wrong with releasing the date, saying that we're going to get them both this year.
Maybe.
A little bit more news. We got, again, I say a little bit, I'm excited about this. So Variety have reported that Netflix is developing a live action Pokemon series. We talked about this yesterday on the way to Suicide Squad. Yeah. I'm ridiculously too excited about this.
I am definitely really excited.
I'm in my 30s. I shouldn't be that excited about live action Pokemon. But I kind of am.
Listen, I'm 31 and I've still got Pokemon Go on my phone and I'm okay with it. I haven't played it in a while, but I've got it.
Okay with it. You're still playing Pokemon Go. It's not 2016, haven't you?
To be fair, I haven't since before COVID, but I've got it.
Liar.
No, I'm not lying. I'd tell you.
I know, you probably would, to be fair.
I'm not bothered.
I think apparently it's coming from Joe Henderson, who is going to basically be producing it and writing it. He is one of the showrunners on Lucifer. I've not watched Lucifer. I've heard really good things about Lucifer.
Yeah, same.
So that can only be a good sign. I'll watch it either way. Whether I stick with it, I don't know, but I'd be very impressed if they just sort of redo the original Pokemon series from when we were kids with Ash and whatever region he started in with like the original starters and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
could be really good. Last bit of Marvel news then. We talked about it already. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney. Wall Street Journal reported. This was a shock. Didn't expect to really ever see news like this.
No.
So the reason behind it is because when she signed her contract for Black Widow, part of the contract basically was that she'd get an exclusive theatrical release, and part of her pay was based on that. So she was going to basically
like a commission type thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, commission, cut of the box office. Yeah. So obviously, because of COVID, it got delayed for quite a while anyway. And when it got released, Disney have obviously thought we need to do a dual release, sort of same day with Disney Plus. So that's why she's suing them. There's been a little bit of development on it. Disney came out and released a statement basically telling everybody how much Scarlett had earned, which was $20 million, which was a bit shitty, to be fair. Yeah. And they also said it was sad and distressing. And then yesterday, Kevin Feige's released a statement and said he's angry and embarrassed at Disney because he told Disney that they shouldn't do a simultaneous release online. He told Disney that they should have done a cinema release first.
I didn't know that.
And then I thought he would just be running with it. But it's good that he's backing her up.
Yeah.
It's good that he's backing it up, and it's not just like whether we're ever going to get Scarlett Johansson back in the MCU in any way, shape, or form after the fact, spoilers, she died. Everybody knows that, obviously. But yeah. I didn't think. We've got variants now, so I suppose the door was always open to bring her back.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is sort of completely sealed her fate. But the fact that Kevin Feige's backing her possibly shows that maybe it hasn't, and we could get it back someday in the MCU. Am I going to ask what do you think?
It's quite a hard one because obviously there's two sides to every story and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
However, I do think that if you've signed a contract agreeing to a specific thing, and then the thing is her contract was with Marvel, and then Disney have kind of stumped the Marvel contract and gone, we're releasing it.
Is that what happened?
That's what's happened.
Right, okay.
So basically, they've gone over Marvel's head, but it's negatively affected her. Now, people can turn around and go, she's earned $20 million off it anyway. Yeah. Why is she whinging about that? Sometimes it's the principle, because if they're getting walked over, and especially with kind of women's equality and all of that kind of stuff with different pay to men and things like that, I get like a woman needs to stand up for herself.
Yeah. And when you look at her pay compared to like Robert Downey Jr. when he's not even headline. I mean, he was in Spider-Man. No Way Home. Not No Way Home. Homecoming. Just Spider-Man Homecoming for like 6 minutes, and he got paid $50 million for it. And comparatively, she's earned $20 million for her own movie.
Yeah,
it's not. You could deem it as not being equal. But again,
exactly.
I suppose there's more detail than we'd probably want to.
There's a net worth to names and things like that, so we know that comes into it as well.
Yeah.
However, I do think that if she signed a contract to say that this is what she should get, and then they've done something that negatively impacts those figures, then I get it. I get why she'd put a lawsuit in. I do understand it. It's just a real bad shame at the end of her run that this has happened.
Yeah, and again, it's the final sort of appearance in it as well, isn't it? I think one thing I said to you yesterday when we discussed this was, I mean, I'd say now I can still see both sides of the story. I can completely see the logic behind both, behind Scarlett Johansson and what Disney have done, because obviously we are still to a degree in a pandemic, so things do change.
Yeah.
But I found out today, Warner Brothers, when they decided to release everything on HBO Max, after they'd already got their casts to sign contracts, which again, some of them will have been based on box office performance. Yeah, they redid everybody's contracts.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they renegotiated the contract so that they'd get a higher cut because no one was going to go to the box office. Yeah. So if Warner Brothers can do it, there's no reason Disney couldn't have done it. Yeah. So it's a choice. Whether Disney didn't think to do it, but which I don't really believe, but they've made a choice to try and stick with that contract and then gone against the contract. They could have, which is brilliant on Warner Brothers' part, because they could have just gone down that route as well and gone, fantastic, definitely. We've saved an absolute fortune here, but they didn't. They've done the right thing, so it's a bit crap. By Disney. Anyway, moving on. Last bit of news. We'll talk about it a little bit of detail. We got a Sony trailer this week. Everyone was a bit gutted it wasn't Spider-Man. But it was good. I'll let them off on this one. We got I would assume, final trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh my god. I was so excited.
So good. I thought it was good. We'll break it down a little bit. What I'd say straight away though is, when it started, within like the first 30 seconds, I thought, this is the same trailer as we've already seen with a few different shots. Yeah. And it kind of was to a degree, just with a bit more information.
It teased more.
Yeah, it gave us a bit of more information, which is good.
It was basically the same advert with a couple of extra teasers in. So this time round, we saw slime.
Did we? Did we see slime?
Yeah.
How have I missed this? I've watched it like 12 times.
So when they're razzing around in the car, and she comes out of the thing with the gun.
Yeah.
That's all we saw in the first trailer. In the second trailer, you see that her beam is hitting slime. And
you mean Slimer?
Slimer, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's Slimer. I think it's just a ghost that looks like slime a little bit, because it's grey. No, Slimer was green.
I thought he was green.
I'm really colourblind, by the way, listeners, so I could completely miss this.
I'm pretty certain he's green.
Was it? Okay, that's fine. Great.
So I think it's just like a bit of an updated, redesigned version of him.
Potentially,
And then, obviously, we saw Annie.
So Annie Potts as Janine. I did not see that coming. I was amazed.
Shut up. Yeah. That's fab.
Absolutely brilliant.
And then at the very end, the phone rang.
Yeah.
And it was at some sort of closed business shop or something. And then we just heard a voice say,
it's
hello.
Razor Cult Books, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing. I was buzzing when I saw that. Before we got to that point in the trailer, I was already like goosebumps all the way through.
And we actually saw one of the dogs this time as well, didn't we?
We did, we saw one of the demon dogs, Zool dogs. Was it Zool potentially? Yeah. This time chasing Paul Rudd, which is potentially he's going to get turned into a dog.
Oh my god,
it's going to be absolutely brilliant. This,
I was so excited for it. It's unreal.
I like the fact that we know. I mean, I think we already knew it was going to be Egon's family anyway.
Yeah,
but we got the confirmation it's going to be Egon's family, which is good. I can only assume if we've got the Zool or the demon dogs, Goza's going to be the bad guy again. So we're going to get the return of Goza.
Yeah.
From the first one.
Yeah.
Which is good because, I mean, I suppose it's you could say it's being redone to a degree, but it worked, and it's been 40 years nearly. So I'm quite all right with that. The ghosts look great in this.
I know.
Like, if you look at them, not to just completely shit on the 2016 one, but they looked really like cartoony and kiddie in that one. Yeah. And they've done this really, really well.
They've done it really well, but they've still used some of the techniques from the original.
Yeah.
So like the colouring and the I can't really describe it, but just the way
they're not neon. They're not neon bright shiny ghosts like they were in the 2016 one. They look like they look physical, but they're ghosts. But do you get what I mean? Like they're not. But even like the dude behind the counter, like the zombie guy, when he says it's like The Walking Dead, like the taxi driver from the first one. That, I mean, it's probably completely CG, but it looks completely practical rather than it being again some big glowy neon thing.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of my concerns, that it was gonna look too modern and CG-ish, but it looked great.
Now, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the car.
Yeah.
So just the fact that they even brought that back is just phenomenal for me. That was the thing that I was gutted about in the 2016 one.
That we got the really
I know
weird
that
one.
we started to see the funeral car at the end, and it could have led to whatever if it had done well.
Yeah.
But that siren and everything, like, it just floods back loads of memories from when I was a kid. Yeah. I had the car when I was a kid. It had the sirens on there. Yeah. Like, I absolutely adored that toy car. Yeah. And so, like, I'm so excited.
I mean, I know it was only the trailer, and hopefully the movie follows this. It had just the right amount of nostalgia. Yeah. Without it just being like a copy. I know, I mean, I suppose it felt a bit Stranger Thingsy, because it's like probably going to be a load of kids fighting the ghosts.
And people said that they were unsure because of the Marshmallow Men, the tiny versions and stuff. People are like, it's a bit gimmicky and stuff like that.
I'm hoping that's going to be like 5 minutes, if not.
I think that's all it'll be.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be messing with Paul Rudd's head in the Walmart
because he makes a point of saying earlier on in the film, do you not remember them in the 80s? That was a massive thing. So I don't know whether it's like a thing to wind him up because they know that that's what he remembers.
Yeah, potentially
something like that.
Yeah,
so.
it's going to be real. I literally, I know I've already said it, I had goosebumps throughout. The music was amazing all the way through. It felt like it was not overselling it. It felt really grand, and I think to me and to us,
I think it needed to be done that way.
Yeah. And I think for anybody like our age who grew up with Ghostbusters, it will feel massive because it's Ghostbusters and it's our Ghostbusters back, not a remake. But I think I've seen a couple of comments online where it's like it was trying to feel bigger than it is, but I think I can only assume that's people who haven't grown up with it, and it's not. To them, it's just like Ghostbusters was a movie 30 years ago that I saw when I was little. But
I mean, Ghostbusters is still something I watch almost every Halloween, no matter what.
It's brilliant. It's an absolute classic. Definitely in my like top 5 movies like ever. Both of them. I know Ghostbusters 2 gets a little bit flack, but I thought they were absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And I am so excited. I know it's not superhero related, but we're talking about it, and we're 100% going to be covering it on the podcast when it comes out in October. I don't care. We're definitely covering it. So that's end of news. Shall we get Sarah on and have a chat with Sarah?
Yeah, let's do it.
So here we go then. Here's our interview with TikTok's Sarah Ellsworth. Take a listen.
So I just wanted to know what you thought of the series finale of Loki.
Okay. So to be completely honest, I was a little bit disappointed in the series finale. And I am a diehard Loki fan, so I mean that with constructive criticism and with the most love that I have. It felt like there was a long, like 30 minutes, them just discussing that the multiverse exists. And then there was really nothing in the end. So it just kind of seemed underwhelming for me personally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because we discussed this and we said that kind of episodes 4 and 5 seemed to be the actual ending of the series. They were the big climax bits. And then episode 6 was essentially just the setup for phase 4 in the multiverse. And that's kind of, if because we didn't know that that's how it was coming, a lot of people kind of said quite a similar thing really about being disappointed by it. Yeah. So we kind of, we felt the same way, to be honest.
I think we said it felt like the whole episode felt like a post-credit scene rather than being the actual season finale.
Right.
Sort of like
that's a good way to put it.
Rather than anything else.
Yeah. So obviously the last thing that they did was they announced that season 2 is going to happen. So what do you think we should expect from season 2? Do you think it will be an immediate follow-on? Do you think that the events of the movies are going to affect what happens in the second season?
I do think, I don't know if it's going to be an immediate follow-up, because obviously we have Spider-Man No Way Home coming, and we have Multiverse of Madness before we're going to get a Loki season 2. Yeah. So I have no idea what to expect. Whatever I thought was going to happen in the Loki series was not at all what actually happened. So I honestly, I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be like a follow-up. I thought I knew where they were going in the finale, and I thought I knew what was going to happen, but I absolutely did not. Yeah. So I'm guessing it's either, I don't know if they're going to continue the multiverse thing, if that's going to be like the new like saga, like the Infinity Saga. But I have no idea what to expect, but I am excited. I do hope it is better than the first season.
What did you think was going to happen at the end of the first season then, if it's not what you expected?
So I had this huge theory constructed in my mind.
We did as well.
We do all the time.
Yeah, I had this big theory, and I made a TikTok on it a while ago. But have you seen the theory that each episode of Loki is based on an Infinity Stone?
Yes. Yeah.
So when we got to episode 5, I was like, the last one's the Space Stone. Like the last one's the Tesseract.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen, because there was that scene in the trailer where we saw Loki in his 2012 Avengers garb, like looking in the mirror, and he went like glorious and he turned around and I'm like, oh, that's Stark Tower. So I thought they're going to wrap this up with the Space Stone. He's going to take the Tesseract and he's going to go back to 2012 New York, because now he knows how to get past Thanos, because classic Loki told him.
Yes.
So I was like, that's got to be what happens. I was like, that shot from the trailer would be the absolute perfect last shot of the show.
Yeah.
And I thought,
disappointed now.
Yeah, that would have been really good.
I was like, take me on as a writer. I was like, I can do it.
Yeah, we've asked a few times.
No, we've said a few times. Yeah, we need to get, not me.
I did it with the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I thought that last minute Isaiah was going to rock up, with the shield and have his like Captain America moment after saying that, because he'd spent all the time being tested on and stuff like that and imprisoned. I thought that was going to be his moment. And we built it all up so much that we were all really disappointed when it didn't happen. So
yeah,
but yeah, no, we're the same with kind of theories and stuff like that.
It feels like, I mean, I assume you watched WandaVision as well, didn't you, Sarah?
Yes.
Particularly with WandaVision and Loki, I think the big selling point of them, particularly with them dropping weekly, is that we get to theorize about them every week.
Yeah.
What's going to happen, and we always end up over-promising ourselves in our heads as to where it's going to go. And I'm hoping that it doesn't start to become old and we start getting into things and thinking, particularly after the series finale of Loki, thinking it's not going to be any good. So I wonder whether Marvel are going to have to start getting a little bit more elaborate with things to sort of keep us excited, because we were still convinced we were going to see Mephisto at some point at the end of before the end of Loki. So do you think Marvel will start getting a bit more adventurous with things going forward, or do you think they'll just stick to the plan?
I do. I don't know, because there has obviously been a lot of pushback with fans from the Loki series, particularly because a lot of people are angry about a lot of things. So I don't know if they're going to take that constructive criticism. I do hope they do. But I obviously want to have, Marvel like work their magic with everything they do. Yeah. And I think the main problem, you were talking about like Falcon and the Winter Soldier being disappointing. And I thought it was hard to put Falcon and the Winter Soldier in there between two shows about like heavy magic and theorizing and like bigger picture. Yeah. And I just felt like putting that in, like sandwiching that in the middle was hard.
Because we then got put with two characters who were quite limited in what power they have. And this is the conversation you've been having in general by saying, how are we going to have a team of people where some of them pretty much are Earthlings with like an extra bit of strength compared to these kind of cosmic powers. We've got the Eternals coming and things like that. How is Spider-Man going to be able to keep up with such characters and things like that? How are they going to do it? Are they going to do it the same way they used Captain Marvel and just kind of throw her away needing to do something more important for now and bringing her back at a pivotal moment, or, those kind of things? It's going to be quite tough, I think, to kind of work those in. Particularly when the majority of the team are superpowers. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got Doctor Strange, you've got Wanda, you've got Loki potentially ending up in this team. So, and then when you've got the likes of Sam potentially having to lead that team,
it seems, I don't know, they're gonna have to do some extremely good writing, in my opinion, to make that work and not just have him sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, definitely.
At some points, yeah. But I agree. It's tough. It was tough dropping that in the middle. I mean, I like the more grounded stuff. Winter Soldier is probably my favorite Marvel film, but yeah, when you look back, it did feel a little bit maybe out of place with where the MCU is going now.
Yeah,
potentially, yeah,
definitely. Which one of the movies are you most anticipating over the next couple of kind of releases?
Multiverse of Madness, for sure.
Yeah,
like absolutely for sure. I don't know. I psyched myself up because I had a TikTok go like insanely viral, like 2 million views talking about my theory that Loki's in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it, you know, when I really sit back and I think about it and how much sense it would make for him to be in there, to have Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch and Loki in a movie together. And and again, you said about like thinking about promising, like getting our hopes up for things. Yeah. I do hope this movie is everything that we think it's going to be. Especially with, you know, we're kind of like teetering on the edge because we don't have the No Way Home trailer yet. And that's going to be like the key to like, are we going in one direction or are we going in the other direction?
Yeah.
So I hope Multiverse of Madness is what we think it's going to be, which is just everyone coming together and it's chaos. And I really want it to be that. And I love the first Doctor Strange. So yeah, I'm hoping that one's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this we've seen kind of like I saw a TikTok not too long ago, and then obviously when the Assembled episode came out as well. Don't know whether did you watch that as well? The kind of making.
I have not had the chance to watch that yet. I do want to though.
I was going to say it's really good. Go back to it when you get the chance. But he talked about recording from kind of February last year, and then he said we recorded for 299 days. But then in an interview, he said that on his birthday, which is in February, that on his 40th birthday, he was dressed as Loki. So it's made
that was my
that was the TikTok.
Oh, was that one?
That was my TikTok.
Yeah, it was that one. Yeah. This is what I mean. So in Assembled, he came back and said that, like he said it was 299 days of filming. So he kind of reconfirmed it at that point. And so, you know, we kind of thought maybe they filmed season 1 and 2 of Loki back to back.
Yeah.
And that's why they didn't announce it until the last minute that season 2 was coming, so that they can bring it out basically whenever. Because we were thinking, are we going to be waiting 3 or 4 years for this? But if they were recording it back to back, is that the case? Or is it because he's in kind of Doctor Strange or making an appearance elsewhere, you know, that kind of thing. So we just,
Right. So that TikTok that I made, I had a lot of people like yelling about it in my comment section. They're like, oh, it's Thor Love and Thunder. It's just Loki season 2. And I was like, I actually saw something this morning about, I kind of like place it in like a timeline where like by like what he looks like what Tom Hiddleston is wearing, like what interviews he's doing.
Yeah.
And he said in an interview talking about Loki season 2, like after it came out, he said, I can't wait to get started. So I'm like, oh, they haven't even started filming yet.
Yeah.
So that gives me more hope. What was he talking about on his birthday? What was he doing on his birthday?
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying it was just reshoots, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm hoping.
It doesn't come across as reshoots from the Loki Assembled, does it? So yeah, I'm with you. I'm hoping it's Doctor Strange. I want to see him back in everything, to be perfectly honest. I think he's brilliant. He's one of the best parts of the MCU. And the fact that, again, you pick up on it a lot more from Assembled. I mean, you can tell from interviews anyway, Tom Hiddleston loves the MCU.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a proper fan of it. And to have somebody who's clearly a fan sticking around with it, that's what you want. You don't want people just there for the paycheck and for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
You want somebody who enjoys being in them and being part of them just as much as we all like watching them, really, don't you?
Yeah.
That's what you're after.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he gets genuinely emotional, doesn't he? Like when he talks about it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant to see.
Yeah.
Like, because you know that he's really there for it, and you know that he's putting everything into it, which came across amazingly in all of the films, to be honest, but especially kind of in the series he thought it was over for him. like when they sat him down to read through Endgame and Infinity War, like
he thought it was all done.
He thought that was it. So
and you've met him, haven't you, Sarah?
Yeah. I was going to say
I have. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's he like? Go on. What's he like?
How was it?
So I was actually at Ace Comic-Con in Seattle in 2017. Right. And I live in Michigan, just for reference, which is like literally opposite sides of the US.
Oh, right.
But I was like, Mom, he doesn't do Comic-Cons. We need to go. I was like, we need to go.
You're a very understanding mother.
I was like, this is well life or death. Yeah, but I'm really sad. I didn't get to stay very long because we were there on Saturday, and it was a very chaotic day. I had 3 photo ops that day, and my friend had 2 photo ops and an autograph. So it was really chaotic. We were rushing around. The Comic-Con wasn't very well. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. Someone just asked me on TikTok, like, what was he like? And so I talked about it. Okay. Yeah. But it was really chaotic, so I didn't get that much time with him. But he was very nice. He made sure to say hello to me and thank me for coming. And I was like, thank you so much for being there, or for being here. And, he waved to my family, which was off to the side. And he's very tall, taller than you think he would be. Right. But I'm very sad that I wasn't able to stick around all day, because he actually, after he finished like my photo op, like time slot, he was at an interview. He was like the last one of like a panel, like the last one of the day. And he was talking about Loki. I'm sure you can find it online. He was talking about Loki and how much, what a journey it's been with Loki. And at this point, it was just Infinity War that was out. Endgame wasn't coming out yet. So we had like tons of fans asking him questions about like, is Loki really dead? And I don't know if he knew about the Loki series yet. But it's a really good panel if you get a chance to watch it.
Yeah. Definitely worth it. Definitely have a look.
You also met Tom Holland while you were there as well, didn't you? Was that one of
Yes, I did.
The other photo ops?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tom.
Did you spoil anything? Because we know what he's like.
Actually, yes, he did.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Amazing.
So Tom Holland was my most chaotic photo op I have ever done. So he was actually, same with Tom Hiddleston, because the Comic-Con was just kind of run very poorly. And it's a fairly new convention company. But Tom Hiddleston was about like an hour late to my photo op because he was spending so much time with fans autographing. He was spending about 3 to 5 minutes with every person that was coming. So I can't be too mad at him about that. Yeah. Tom Holland was 2 hours late to my photo op. And it was funny because we were waiting in line, and this post is still live on his Instagram. But he was like, all right, guys, he was literally in like the back hallway of the convention center. I'm like, you need to get to my photo op. And he was like, just got the script for Far From Home. And that is when he leaked the title of Far From Home. So that post is still live on his Instagram. He's like, I'm here at Ace Comic-Con, Seattle. About to go do some photo op, about to go do some pictures. Just got the script, Spider-Man Far From Home, right on the paper. And I was like, him being 2 hours late and spoiling the title of his next movie, if that's not the most Tom Holland thing that has ever happened, exactly. I don't know what is.
Do you know what? To be fair though, like, he's so entertaining in everything he does. I mean, I don't know whether either of you saw, but did you see the interview when he had someone signing for him? Or no, it wasn't signing. It was an interpreter that was speaking another language, and they kept coming up to the microphone to say what he'd said, and he's pushing them away, thinking that it's just someone like trying to like take over the stage or something. Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, you don't speak English," and then he kind of had this moment, and it is so funny. But he's like that all the time on everything that he does. So it makes me absolutely howl. I mean, with regards to kind of, first of all, I saw your collection of your Funko Pops as well in your background on some of your TikToks. How many Marvel ones have you got altogether?
Okay, let's think here. I have, one, two, three. Okay, so I've got Ant-Man and the Wasp. I have got Captain Marvel and Goose. That's 4. I got Tony Stark, Bucky, Steve, and Doctor Strange. Plus, I have I think I have 4 Lokis. So
Brilliant.
That's the total count.
Amazing. And which one's your favorite? It's going to be Loki, isn't it?
My favorite Funko or my favorite Marvel Funko?
Your favorite Marvel Funko?
My favorite Marvel Funko. I have the 10th anniversary like golden Loki.
Right.
And I think that one's my favorite. It just looks so nice on my shelf.
That's pretty cool.
What's your favorite non-Marvel Funko now? Because you've left that.
So I'm a big fan of Disney and like Disney parks. I talk about the Haunted Mansion on my TikTok all the time.
Yeah.
I have a Madame Leota Funko, which is now like super expensive. You can't find it. Like you can find it, but it's like $60 somewhere. And I think that one is my favorite. She's very broken, but that one's my favorite.
Crazy some of the prices from these Funkos.
I know.
Isn't it?
I can't believe it. Well, we found out the other day that you can actually go to one of the stores and make ones of yourselves. Is that right? Is that a thing?
Yeah, you can if you go to a store, I think you actually will like select the parts yourself. But I know Funko has like a DIY one where you just paint it. Yeah. And I actually made that. I made that one for my dad because he's a nerd like me too. So I made one of him. And then my mom made one for me. So now I have a little Funko of myself on my shelf.
That's really good.
We need on.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
But I would love to. Yeah, I would love to make one like at an actual facility or like a store or something.
Really cool. So, just so that we've got kind of a bit on you as well. So, overall favorite Marvel character?
Loki.
So I thought that was going to be the answer. To be honest,
come on now.
But we had to ask it. And then obviously I've seen that you kind of have like your Flash t-shirts on and stuff like that as well. So I assume you do enjoy the DC comics and things like that as well.
I do. I enjoy the DC, comics and characters and things like that. The movies need some work, but
yeah. Okay. That's pretty much what we've said in general. They need a bit of work doing to them. But I mean, have you got a favorite character out of the DC?
Out of the DC universe, probably, I like the DC villains, I think actually more than I like the Marvel villains. I think they're just so cool. So I like Harley Quinn and I like Joker. I think they're really cool. Their story is so interesting. I would probably have to say it's a tie between those two.
They do, don't they? The DC villains are definitely one of the big sort of selling points of it. It's just a bit of a shame as to how much. I mean, not sitting here sort of to slate DC, but they need to sort of get the shit together, for want of a better word. It's just it just seems a bit of a mess at the moment. But I think they just need to pick a direction.
I think one of their main problems is they don't have like concise actors like the MCU does. Every 10 seconds we have a new Batman. It's like I'm looking at like The Flash, and The Flash has Ben Affleck, but Robert Pattinson is also Batman now. It's just really confusing. And there's been so many Jokers. No one can do it like Heath Ledger though. No. And it's really sad. But they've got so many Jokers now. And you had Wonder Woman, which was, in my opinion, one of, if not the best DC movie. But then Wonder Woman 1984 was really bad.
So I've seen 1984. Now, I think that the film would have been better off if they had have got rid of the whole Chris Pine thing. I think so too. Yeah, I think that's what pulled it right down. I actually really enjoyed Kristen Wiig.
Did you?
I thought she was really good because we were getting a villain there and we were getting a backstory. We were getting to understand why she was becoming the way she was becoming. Yes, it was quite elaborate and kind of went from 0 to 100 quite quickly.
She turned into a cheetah.
She did turn into a cheetah. Okay. That's why I'm saying elaborate. I was being nice about it. But like again, we've said this quite a few times on the Marvel films. There's always been a bit of a problem with the villains. in that you can't tend to see where they're coming from, which is why Thanos was such a massive thing, because you understood him, you understood why he was doing what he was doing, and I think that was kind of coming through on Wonder Woman, which is why I liked Kristen Wiig's character so much. But yeah, no, Chris Pine just kind of, as much as I love him as an actor, I think he's brilliant. I just think that that part of the story did not need to be there whatsoever.
I thought the showstopper of 84 was Pedro Pascal. I thought he was fantastic, and I may be biased because I love The Mandalorian, but I thought he was just so fantastic. And, you know, talking about Thanos and like going back to Marvel, you see Thanos now, but now we have Kang, and he honestly, in my opinion, is so much scarier because he sat there and he let Thanos do all of that. He watched it as it happened, and he has been overseeing every single thing. So it's like, has any Marvel character had free will at all in this entire time?
And it's not even the big bad Kang, is it? It's the good Kang who's been allowing all this to happen. So what's the bad variant gonna get up to in the MCU? It's crazy.
And this is what we were saying with the Eternals. You know, they were saying in the adverts, in like all of the trailers and things like that, they were saying now it's time we need to step in. And it's like, well, if Thanos wasn't a big enough event for them to step in, what is so crushing now that they need to get involved? I was just like, I don't get it, but I'm really excited for it because it must mean it's going to be huge. So I mean, I'm really, really excited for it.
So Sarah, do you think that evil Kang, it sounds weird saying like that, but do you think the bad variant of Kang is going to be our next Thanos, or do you think there's going to be multiple big villains going forward, or is he just sort of like the Loki bad guys thing?
It's hard to say. To be completely honest, I thought Jonathan Majors was fantastic in Loki. I like the series finale. I think he stole the show. So I am very excited to see Kang in general. I do think they are going to go in the direction of Kang being the next big bad, which is interesting because I know he's in Quantumania, and it's going to be interesting because I don't think they've ever given like Ant-Man and the Wasp like that big of a thing before. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I would really like to go in the direction of not having one big bad anymore. Like, because we had Thanos and he was like huge, but he was like one person. I would like it if like the big bad was the multiverse, sort of, if that makes sense. Like having like variants of everyone, you know, like I think I don't know if they're going to go in this direction, but I think it would be a lot more fun if the big bad wasn't a person, but like a multiversal like war that they have to stop, and like get everyone back to their universes or whatever. So I mean,
villains as well. We could end up with not this Sinister Six, but maybe rather than one big bad controlling the whole thing, maybe multiple bad guys from different movies coming together, maybe for a team up.
Well, I mean, they've started introducing all that because we've seen Madam Hydra starting to recruit kind of her gang. And then obviously with the stuff that has been leaked so far from Spider-Man, with Doc Ock coming back and things like that, there is that potential of Hobgoblin and all of them coming back. And then you've got Kang on top of that as well. And I still don't think we can ignore Mephisto. I'm sorry, I'm totally obsessed over this, Sarah. But I'm positive that Mephisto is going to make an appearance at some point. But I don't know whether he might turn up because of chaos, because of everything that's going on. And I think whether some villains may use it as a diversion or something like that, so that it is going to be chaotic and there's going to be a hell of a lot going on. But we talked about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Yes.
Because I've said, what if we do get a variant of Kang, but it's not the big bad Kang that we're talking about at the moment? Because obviously you said that there's so many different versions of them that are fighting to get there. What if we're kind of being misled and it's a bit of a red herring? We are going to get a Kang, but it's not going to be the one that that is going to really kick it all off.
Bad, yeah.
So I was, because I actually said, what if the big bad Kang turns up at the last minute and kills that version of Kang instead of Ant-Man and the Wasp doing it?
Ooh,
because
that's cool.
Because we've said that Ant-Man and the Wasp wouldn't kind of normally get this kind of high level. So what if they were trying to fight him and it wasn't working for them, and then another Kang comes along and just completely annihilates him?
And that's the big bad.
We should all be writers for the MCU.
I know.
Marvel, if you're listening.
Yeah. Kevin Feige, if you're listening right now.
Yeah.
We're ready.
I don't know whether you're in on this joke, Sarah, but when we first started talking about this, I'd only ever seen Kevin's name and not actually heard it out loud.
You're bringing this up yourself.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up myself because everyone always takes the mick out of me. And because it's spelt the same way as the colour beige, I actually thought it was Kevin Feige. So there's been a big running joke. People have been hashtagging Feige rhymes with beige, and I'm absolutely mortified over it. So if you see that, I was just getting in there before you said something.
I was going to, but you got in there. Sorry. You ruined my joke.
I know.
That's funny.
So yeah, I mean, as I say, we've got so much to look forward to, kind of with everything that's coming up with Marvel. We were just talking in our news segment that there's apparently 9 further Marvel series that haven't actually been named yet, that we've had no leaks or anything from, but there's a lot more that exist. So it just seems like it's really going to they're going to keep up this level of just pumping stuff out, which hopefully is going to be amazing. I mean, the only thing that we hope is that you're not doing too much and we start to kind of lose that excitement for it. But I mean, the level of the directors and the actors that they've got in for these. Yeah. I mean, Kate Herron, who did Loki, she was the director for Loki. Like, she was just phenomenal. Like, how she's come up with that storyline was just brilliant. So we're really hopeful. Again, anything in particular that you're really excited for? Are there any characters that we haven't seen yet that you're really looking forward to see? Or
I am excited for more Florence Pugh. I'm excited to see Yelena. Is that how you pronounce her name? I'm excited to see her in Hawkeye. I fell in love with her in Black Widow. I thought she was fantastic. I'm excited for the possible Young Avengers that we're getting.
Yeah.
I thought, I think, Wiccan and Speed, I hope they do come back.
Yeah.
And I am excited for, I think, the Scarlet Witch storyline that we're getting in Multiverse of Madness, because everyone, is saying when the multiverse broke, that was when she heard Billy and Tommy's voice at the end of WandaVision. And I kind of want her to be the villain in Multiverse of Madness, or I kind of want her to be the problem, because that was what happened in the comics.
Well, there's a few things I quite like about that, because, I mean, first of all, one of the things that I thought originally was that the twins were going to be in the castle at the end of Loki, and Wanda was going to turn up, which was kind of one of the events that was going to kind of break everything. So I was like, is she going to have a quick cameo at the last episode, turning up to try and get the boys back or something like that? I was wrong, as usual.
Yeah. Not Mephisto either.
No, not Mephisto. We've also heard that this wasn't the last we saw of Agatha as well. And my kind of question is, if Wanda does go bad, are they going to try and bring Agatha back because she was a good kind of level fighter with her? To try and fight back. Because Agatha was always good, was good in the comics, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So to kind of bring her on side and kind of flip that would be quite impressive.
And Loki potentially joining in the fight as well. Loki and Agatha being the protagonists alongside Doctor Strange, with Wanda being the villain. It'd definitely be a switch, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So
I think the Loki series, the main problem I had with the Loki series just in general was, you look at WandaVision, and WandaVision was all about Scarlet Witch, and it was about it was her moment, because at the very end of the series, we transitioned from Wanda Maximoff to Scarlet Witch, and it was her time. And, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was like, we have a new Captain America. That was the whole point. It felt like Loki's series wasn't his, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I honestly felt like Sylvie wasn't really necessary. I felt like we didn't need her. And their relationship, I'm not even going to get into it because it just makes me so upset.
Yeah, I'm aware of your distaste for that, because I was quite the same, to be honest.
I liked it.
I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan myself, so I kind of agree.
I felt like she wasn't really necessary. If they are going to put her in, I would have preferred for them to be like a power duo, like just like they become good friends.
Yeah.
And like work together. But it felt like Loki was just used to set up the big bad again, like he was with Thanos. And I was like, they made the whole point of the first episode being Loki's been used to further other people's storylines this whole time. Yeah. So why are they doing it in their own show?
Yeah.
And I felt like at least if they wanted the series finale to be a bit stronger, I would have liked to see Doctor Strange just like kind of like what's happening, or I would have liked to see a universe where like another universe of some kind where we see a character that we haven't seen in a long time, like a Spider-Man that's not Tom Holland. Yeah. I would have liked to see like a little sneak peek of what we're getting into. Yeah. I just felt like that would have made it a bit better.
Yeah. No, the same. I mean, for me, like with Loki, I mean, I was looking at it from a point of, they were always saying that you're always going to be alone, you're always going to be lonely, and all of that kind of stuff. And for him, Sylvie was kind of his way of having someone, but still technically being alone, because it's a version of him. So I kind of liked it from that angle. They got really close. I think for most of it, they could have got away with it being him caring for like a sibling or something. Yeah. So when they had the kiss in the last episode, I was like, no, it's out the window. So
yeah, we're in a family. Yeah.
So yeah. So thank you very much for coming on and doing this with us. We do really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for taking time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
No problem at all. This is TikTok Sarah Ellsworth. Go and check her out on TikTok. She's done loads and loads of videos that are so fun to watch. I've kind of looked through a fair few of them now, and they make me giggle. They are really, really good to be fair. By all means, obviously jump on and drop her a message, things like that.
We'll put a link in the description to Sarah's TikTok as well.
Yeah. Thank you again for being on. You are our very first so thank you.
I'm honored.
Making it much easier for us as well, because we were a bit concerned. We were a bit worried about it being our first one. So no, thank you very much. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, then that's it. First interview on the podcast done. That was weird.
Do you know
really
what,
good though. I
really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and she's so lovely to be.
She's
fair.
absolutely sound. Yeah, I'm really impressed that she came on the podcast. To be fair, to be honest, but yeah, really good, really down to earth. Good to have a chat with somebody else other than, no offense, but just you.
Cheers, mate.
You're like the only person I speak to actually face to face with about MCU and all that sort of stuff. So it was kind of good having a chat with somebody else.
No, but on a serious note, like you get like fresh opinions and stuff. So I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good, brilliant. So should we do Pod Fans Assemble?
Let's do it.
Pod Fans Assemble.
Okay, so first of all, we've got some reactions to the Ghostbusters trailer.
Amazing.
So we've got We Needed Roads podcast, who said the end of the trailer, literal goosebumps.
Yeah.
And then Mischievous Scamp replied to that and said, I love Paul Rudd. This looks so good. Man, I just had wave after wave of goosebumps watching that. So stoked for this.
Yeah.
I feel exactly the same.
Yeah.
Again, it's all that nostalgia just flooding back.
Exactly,
And I mean, even knowing that the director is the son of the
I know,
original director.
it feels like somebody said it's like a love letter to, I mean, we were talking about before how like it felt really big and epic.
Yeah.
And some people say maybe it felt a bit too of like self-important. But it is. It's Jason Reitman has
it's
made
very
it
personal to him
exactly.
as well.
Yeah,
and that's why I love it so much. So I've really got high hopes. And then we've got people posting the same gif saying it looks epic. Can't wait for this. So yeah,
and the gif is Ray spraying the inside of the beautiful, amazing.
So we also threw some polls out there as well. So we asked, do we think that we'll see Loki in Spider-Man No Way Home? And
why are you laughing? I put that one together. I wondered whether we'd see him.
No, it was more because the overwhelming response with 51% was no chance.
No chance. I know. I was a bit gutted when that came back.
I mean, honestly, you should have just changed that to "Shut up, Nick."
Shut up, Anthony.
Then Keeper of the Sacred Flame said, I don't think we will get the TVA revealed to us too soon in the phase. Possibly a Sylvie appearance though, since she'll probably be sad she sent him to the wrong dimension.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's in a completely different dimension, isn't he? I don't even think it's crossed my mind.
Or is it the same one, but because it's changed?
Was the TVA all in a different dimension?
Yeah.
Maybe. Or is that too far out there? Hang on. No, that doesn't make sense. Ignore me. But we've not really thought. It's like all this talk about like when's Loki next going to show up. I haven't even thought about when Sylvie's next going to pop up.
I know.
I just assumed it'd be Loki series 2. But imagine if we could end up with them like constantly in films. Yeah. We could end up with like Loki in Doctor Strange, Sylvie popping up in No Way Home, and then sort of jumping vice versa between the two.
Yeah. Maybe.
The more Loki, the better.
I know, yeah. So we then put out another poll saying, with Marvel's first family heading to the MCU soon, when do you think we'll get our first introduction to the Fantastic Four? Do we think it'll happen for their own movie, or do you reckon there'll be an introduction beforehand?
And what were the polls again? I can't remember what the polls said.
So 52% said before their movie and 48% said not until their own movie.
So it's close then, isn't it?
It's really close, that, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think we'll get teasers, or do you just think we'll get Fantastic Four when the movie happens?
I think it'd be good to happen before their movie.
Yeah.
I think if one member of the Fantastic Four, so I think if Reed turned up in one other one, just to introduce that first person.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Before they've announced the cast. Like if we
got it and it was just
as a twist and was just like, bam, there it is.
Yeah.
Like I just think that'd be amazing.
Completely unexpected cameo.
Yeah. And then after whatever's released that introduces that, we then get the trailer for the new film.
Yeah.
I think something like that would be really good.
Yeah.
So Kenneth said, my guess is we'll have a tease in either Spider-Man No Way Home or Ant-Man Quantumania, but I don't think it will be them.
Oh, like it'd be a variant.
Maybe.
It's going to be so confusing. I like that idea, but I don't know if I do.
What if Chris Evans comes back as...
I wouldn't be surprised.
As Captain America.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw Chris Evans as the Human Torch. That would be really good. But then it's like, I think if you ended up... I like the idea of us getting introduced to a variant of the Fantastic Four or a member of the Fantastic Four, but I think it's a very dangerous game there, because imagine if somebody... literally, like people who've been talked about, not John Krasinski, somebody who's been talked about to be playing Reed Richards. I think like Andrew Lincoln was talked about years ago. I've been watching Walking Dead again recently, so that's why I jumped in my head. But imagine if like Andrew Lincoln popped up as Reed Richards, and then we find out like months later or a year later that John Krasinski's actually our Reed Richards and Andrew Lincoln was a variant.
Yeah.
It's like a proper diss against one of them then.
Yeah.
Because it's like, are you really upset that you've not got that you've not had him, or really happy that you've got John Krasinski now? And it's like, I don't know if an actor would come in and do that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're sort of putting yourself down to a degree, aren't you?
Yeah,
Either
maybe.
way.
I mean, unless it was like a massively obvious, not our
Nicolas Cage
version.
Let's get Nicolas Cage, Reed Richards, because then it's obviously fake.
No.
It's obviously a red herring then.
No.
Do it, Marvel.
No.
Do it. You know everybody loves
Please.
it. Anthony wants it really.
Marvel, for the love of God, don't employ Nicolas Cage.
Do it.
For anything.
Do it.
Ever again.
Do it.
Right.
Anyway.
That was really harsh then.
It was harsh, yeah.
So's Nick. I just don't
me or Nick Cage?
No, Nick Cage.
Oh, okay. Not me.
And then KJ Hagen then responded saying end credit teasers like they did with Samuel L. Jackson would be fun.
Yeah.
Which is similar to what I was saying. If we could just introduce one of them before revealing the cast, I just think it'd be brilliant.
Yeah. And then Geeking 8 have something?
Geeking 8 then said, okay, this is a long one, so get ready. So, Fantastic Four will only recently have their powers as described before. I would like it not to be the origin.
An origin, yeah.
Because we've had it twice. They didn't work. Let's just start from after they've already got it. I would prefer that. Same way that they did with Tom Holland.
Do you think?
It so many times.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, with Tom Holland, we're getting deep into this Podfans Assemble this week, but it is a Podfans Assemble special, isn't it? So, I think I know we've seen Spider-Man's origin multiple times already.
Yeah.
So that's one reason you can get away with it.
Yeah.
But I also think everybody, even people who aren't heavily into the MCU, know Spider-Man's origin story. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it.
Do you not think everyone knows?
I think you go and ask a random person in the street, how did Spider-Man get his powers or what's his name? I think a lot of people would know it was Peter Parker and would know he got bitten by a radioactive spider. And people know that. I think if you went to a lot of people, randoms, and said, who are the Fantastic Four? Some of them probably wouldn't even know who they are. And if you said, the ones who do know, how do they get the powers? They'd be like, they wouldn't have a clue. So I think you might need to do an origin story because nobody watched Fant Four Stick. It was rubbish. Nobody was interested. So it's been years and years and years since we've had an origin story, and I can't even remember the origin in the the early 2000s one with Chris Evans. I can't even really remember that origin story. So I think you're going to have to do an origin.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Went off on one there, didn't I?
Yeah,
just a bit. Sorry.
So then
I'm
he
not
said,
sorry.
Ant-Man.
Nick Cage.
Ant-Man will find a Kang in the quantum realm. I suspect an evil Kang from during the multiversal war who chose to hide there instead of die.
Okay.
It's this Kang that will go on to rule the TVA.
Okay.
He will also be a villain for the Fantastic Four, but not current Kang, but a different Kang. And this is where we branch from the Prime timeline. Various Kangs will now be appearing throughout the films until we get to the beginning of the multiverse war. Doom will come in Fantastic Four, but won't be the focus. We will get other Lokis. After all, we know Asgardian gods resurrect, so Kid Loki can return as a resurrection of Endgame Loki.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot to
unpack.
I like it.
Mind blown.
I know.
It's good though.
I think it's really good. I'm frightened of things getting overly complicated.
Yeah.
That's my only thing.
Yeah. But I think Marvel are at the point where they can do it. They can start overcomplicating things because people are so invested into it. I think
I'm invested, but I just don't want my head to hurt after a film.
I also think he's onto something with, if we're going to tease a character from the Fantastic Four, bring Doom in first.
Yeah.
Bring Doom, establish Doom as maybe not even a villain, but as part of the MCU.
Yeah.
And then drop the Fantastic Four on their movie. That'd be a good way of doing it.
Yeah. Okay, so we then did, will we really see a mutant in Phase 4 of the MCU? 69% said we're getting them soon, and 31% said no way. So,
I'd go with the.
Convinced.
I'd go with the. I'm with the 31%. I don't think. Yeah, I know we technically got Ursa Major or whatever his name was in Black Widow, but I don't think he's really supposed to be the mutant version of him. I don't think we'll get. I think there's too much going on. I don't think we'll get. I think we'll get obviously an X-Men movie, but I don't think we'll get them until the next phase. I don't think we'll be introduced to them until a lot closer to the movie coming out.
I think there will be an event that will establish it.
Yeah, they're gonna. I get that.
I think it's going to be something to do with Wanda.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Wanda may. I think mutants already exist, but I think Wanda is gonna maybe do something that awakes the biological chemistry or something like that within the body makeup, so that anyone who has the mutant gene, it then kind of becomes a thing. So there's more mutants. Yeah, if that makes sense.
I agree, but I don't think we'll find out about it until they're ready to drop them. I think I agree. I think they either already exist. Yeah. Or something going forward over the next couple of movies is going to make them. Yeah. If Wanda didn't make them during WandaVision. Yeah. But I think we'll then get flashbacks to that. I think we're like 5 years off getting mutants.
Do you?
Yeah. I think especially with the fact we know we're getting Fantastic Four soon. I don't know whether it's going to be the end of this phase, start the next phase, but we know it's coming. Yeah. I think dropping Fantastic Four and mutants so close together, it's too much. Yeah. And I don't think Marvel will do that. Plus, it's like. It's a cash cow. This they'll drag it out as long as they can. Disney will not want all the good characters being used in Phase 4 and 5. They'll want to hold back people so that they can get new actors in.
So then We Needed Roads podcast said, I know a popular theory is that the snap is what causes the mutations in people to get us to the X-Men, or they could just be multiversal variants, which would allow for cameos for old X-Men actors.
Yeah.
Plus then could get the Deadpool and Wolverine buddy film we all want.
Need that.
That would be amazing.
That, but it's got to be Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
If anyone other than Hugh Jackman.
There's no way it could be anyone else, really.
Yeah. Unless you got Deadpool with somebody else and the entire thing he just comments about he doesn't really like him because you're not Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine, like Tom Hardy in there, but it's just like, you'll do. You're not Hugh, though. Something along those lines. I like that.
Yeah. And then Let's Start Over responded saying, I'm thinking that it will be a slow burn. Fantastic Four is a huge ass to the MCU, and I think they won't want to overshadow that with bringing in the mutants, just like you've said, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
They need to have their own time to be centre stage. And that was from Let's Start Over, shall we?
Yeah.
We then put out another one just to say, if we are really getting the Netflix characters in the MCU soon, do you want to see those versions or variants? And again, 69% said give me the originals.
I like it. Yeah.
I prefer that because I don't necessarily think that the actors were a problem at any point. I think it was
maybe
the
Iron Fist.
I never watched it, so I don't know that.
I didn't hear good things.
But most of the programs we had good kind of feedback from how they went. It was just that they kept getting cancelled.
Yeah. Charlie Cox's Daredevil was brilliant.
Yeah.
John Bernthal as the Punisher is just like the best casting ever.
Has there been something about Charlie Cox, but the actor going back to do some reshoots or something?
Yes, I think we talked about it last week. Yeah. He was. Yeah. So he had to cancel a Comic-Con appearance to do reshoots, but he didn't. No one knows what it is. But there's also speculation that they're currently doing reshoots on Spider-Man, so people are hoping that he's in that. But I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago as well, that there's talk about him coming back in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna have to be that road. But then I suppose I think maybe I didn't word the question right. I think even if we are getting the original actors back to play these characters, so let's say that we get Charlie Cox back as Matt Murdock. Do we want it to be the Matt Murdock that we've seen in the Netflix shows, or do we want it to be a new version of Matt Murdock but still played by Charlie Cox? That's what I was trying to get at. I know that sounds like a confusing question, but are the Netflix shows going to be canon if we get Charlie Cox? Yeah. I don't think they will. I think we'll get the original actors, some of the original actors anyway. Yeah. And the Netflix shows won't be canon anymore because it's too confusing to start bringing that back in. Yeah. But I'm really excited. I really want. I mean, Charlie Cox back, Kristen Ritter back, Vincent D'Onofrio back as Kingpin, just be amazing. There's a rumor that
things about him, to be fair.
There's a rumor that he's going to be in Hawkeye.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
That would be cool. And then we've got Veron Tet, who replied to that saying, speaking of variants, Ralph Boner as Quicksilver.
Yes. I'm worried 100%.
With that.
Yeah, he's got to be it. He's got to be it. That would be good if he was the first mutant.
Do you know what, though? We still never found out who that person was that was missing.
That was the witness?
Yeah.
We still don't know who the witness was?
We have no idea who it was.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, we still don't know.
Yeah. Could be anybody. So
again,
at this point.
that could be a thing.
Could be.
That's still going to come up at some point.
Could be. Like he is a variant and he's just good. Like that.
I know.
Forgot about that. Well done.
So I try.
Is that us?
Yeah, that's everything.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for getting involved this week. We had loads of you involved, which is absolutely brilliant. Keep them coming every week. Should we do the wrap up?
Yeah, brilliant.
So thanks again for listening to the show, and don't forget to come back next week for our full review of the Suicide Squad. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Again, I think we've done quite well to not blab about that this week. It's so hard, but we don't want to talk about it this week when most of our listeners won't get to watch it till next week. But yeah. Spoilers, it is really good, and we'll do a non-spoiler and a full spoiler review again next week, like we did with Black Widow, so that if anyone hasn't watched it straight away, they can listen along and enjoy that. You can find all our episodes at thatsuperherothing.com, along with all of our social media links. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We'll also put, as we said, Sarah Ellsworth's TikTok link in the description to this week's episode. On the website, you can also sign up for our email newsletter, where you'll receive new episode alerts, news on upcoming shows, and some behind-the-scenes looks at the show. You can contact us on any of our socials and submit thoughts and theories for next week's Podfans Assemble. And as always, if you've enjoyed the show, please do consider rating and reviewing it. It really helps us get seen and noticed by more people. But other than that, I think that's a wrap for this week. So thanks very much for listening, and we'll speak to you next week.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.